Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. Last week, we had prayed for one of our friends who was about to have a knee surgery, knee replacement. She recently wrote to me, to us. Whenever Vivek says me, I'm as much part of this community as you are. Hari Om Vivekji, pranams to you and all of the seekers in our family. What a lovely message. Most of you have never even seen her before, but she feels that we're all family. I am ever grateful for your prayers as a group, heard about it from Seeker. I'm sure your prayers will make my journey to recovery easy. Right now, it seems as a long one from the way I feel this morning. I am now in a rehab center and might be for another week or so. I need a lot of help in moving around, which I get 24/7 by being here. Please keep me in your prayers. Hari Om. Every few days, I go to our ashram, our center in Niagara Falls. It's called Chinmayadhara. One day we'll all gather there physically. And when I check the mail, every time there are new notes, new cards. Like this morning, I was reading through so much of what was drawn and written and sent. It reminds me of, around Christmas when you go to people's homes and they have all of those Christmas cards out on the strings and so on. I feel like that's every day with all of you. Paintings and poems. I can't explain to anyone what greater expression of Bhagwan/Bhagya there could be than all of us being together. Sakama is desires for oneself. Nishkama is desires for oneness. Clearly, our desires are changing. And us seeing each other every morning is proof of that. Bhagavad Gita's chapter 3 begins with Prince Arjuna's questions. His ego is making him feel that he is ready to know vastness. That was the initial subject in chapter 2. So he's asking Sri Krishna, why do I have to engage in right action? That is the middle subject of chapter 2. Personalizing this, I feel our egos do the same for us. And this is clearly shown in our self-study. We all want to study scriptures that we cannot understand. Many of us cannot even pronounce what those scriptures are or those verses. And that's our ego that's making us feel that we're ready for that which is advanced when we're not prepared for that which is advanced. One of the fundamental qualities of a disciple, of a discipline, a shishya, is honesty. Sri Krishna begins to answer in a most loving way. In verse 3, he shares, there are two parts to this path, but there is only one path. There's a beginning part Karma Yoga, an advanced part, Jnana Yoga, yet it is one path. We should try to have the Viveka, which means insight, that there is only one path. And Vinaya, which means humility, to engage the part that we're ready for. In verse 4, Shri Krishna shares, not acting is not equivalent to not depending on acting. They're not equivalent. One who does not depend on acting, they don't have likes and dislikes in their lives. They act, there are results, but there's no dependency on that. Hence, no likes or dislikes. Those are not equivalent. In verse 5, the Creator is unchanging, yet creation is ever-changing. The cause is unchanging, the effect is ever-changing. We have to direct our changing towards the unchanging. This is shared in verse 5. To direct, the direction should be towards existence awareness, which are unchanging. In verse 6, Shri Krishna highlights the need for integration between one's lifestyle and vision. Shared differently, between one's external world, let's call that the body, and one's internal world, let's call that the mind. If there's integration, Arjuna. If there's disintegration, hypocrisy or mityachara, making this very specific. This past weekend, I was teaching at our Chinmaya Mahasamadhi camp, and many asked me questions about rituals. And I shared, a ritual is the means, a virtue is the ends. If a ritual is not causing you to become more virtuous, it's not a means then. There has to be an integration between a ritual and a virtue. Otherwise, hypocrisy. Verse 7, I'm going to read it. Yastvindriyani manasa niyamyarabhate Arjuna karmendriya karma yogam asaktasya vishishyate. I've shared many times with all of you, we have 3 knots in our hearts. Please share with me what those knots are in Sanskrit or English. These are 3 expressions that limit us, that make us feel incomplete. And they are avidya, kama, karma. Incompleteness makes me have desires for completeness, and then I act for that completeness. In this verse, niyamya means the right actions. When that's checked off, that deepens to asaktaha, which means the right desires. Asakta literally means to not be attached. In other words, we should have a desire for independence. You're making that connection? The right karma, the right kama, then causes vishishyate, which means the right vidya, not avidya, but the right vidya or the right feeling. Vishishyate means excels. This is when we change our vasanas from being the body to being more than the body. Okay? Niyamya plus asaktaha equals vishishyate. And the last verse that we just studied. Niyatam kuru karma tvam karma jayo hya karmanaha sharira yatra pichate na prasiddhayeta karmanaha. Prince Arjuna asks, Niyata. Niyata means engage in your regular responsibilities. Now I'm going to invest some time right now and explain a framework of actions and responsibilities for you. I'll make this spatial also. On the left, this is called Nishiddha Karma. In English, prohibited actions. Who decides that they're prohibited? The scriptures. So prohibited here doesn't mean legal or illegal. It means moral and immoral. There's lots that is legal, but it's immoral. And we know this because our mind becomes more agitated. Better than that. Okay, this framework is to get to regular responsibilities. Better than Nishiddha Karma is Kamya Karma, which is selfish actions. It is better that I desire a 50,000 square foot home than me beating up people. I can't think of a good example right now. Nishiddha Karma, Kamya Karma. Yes, that is better. I hope I don't have to explain that more. Better than that. Naimittika Karma. I used that term yesterday. This is a special responsibility. See how it's changed from an action to a responsibility. It is not prohibited responsibilities and selfish responsibilities. Those are just actions. Special responsibilities. And giving you a reference for this, suppose there's a discourse series in your community. So that would be your special responsibility to organize that, to be part of it. Yes? But suppose you only do that once a quarter or twice a year. It's good, but it's not the greatest, which leads us to Nitya Karma, your regular responsibilities. That's the greatest opportunity to evolve. Nitya means perpetually or at least daily. Meaningful mornings has become your Nitya Karma, correct? How much more powerful this than a weekly study group, than a quarterly discourse series? Yes? To make sure this is clear, if you don't bathe every day, how will your relationships be? Suppose bathing is your naimittika karma, your special responsibility, but not your regular responsibility. You will become asaktaha. No one will want to associate with you. With this review, we are ready for verse 9. Verse 9, Puja Guruji Swami Tejomayananda told us we have to memorize. This is a summary of everything I just summarized for you. So you can ignore everything I spoke about for 15 minutes and just focus for 15 seconds. Yajñarthat karmanon yatra lokoyam karma bandanaha tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sanga samachara. It's an amazing summary. Just the definition right now. Actions or karma that is in the spirit of yajna, which means dedication. That's the first quarter. What's compared to this? The second quarter. Lokaha ayam karma bandhanaha. Actions that are not in the spirit of dedication, they bind. They make those knots tighter. But actions that are dedicated, they loosen. They make us free. Tadartam karma kaunteya. This is the summary, the conclusion. This is like the word tasmat. Prince Arjuna, your karma, tat artham, should flow in the spirit of dedication. If you do this, mukta sangha samachara, you will be engaged freely. Just like the one who is content. That's what Prince Arjuna's mind is on. I want to be the one who's content in thinking, in speaking, in sitting, in walking. Sri Krishna has re-emphasized, you can be like this by following this. I will elaborate more tomorrow. To application. Your recent applications were to be patient. Are you continuing to be extraordinarily patient? Another application was for you to register for at least one of our courses, which many of you have done. Your application for this morning, please listen carefully. Yajno vai Vishnuhu. Yajno vai Vishnuhu. This is a teaching from the Upanishad, which means yajna or dedication is Vishnu, is God. I want you to say this all day. I want you to be hypnotized by these three words. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be happiness.